Why is the Super Nintendo considered the holy grail of RPG consoles? Join us as we dive into the magic of this SNES, where iconic titles like Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, and The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, redefine storytelling and gameplay in ways that still resonate today. Discover how this legendary console set the standard for RPGs and how its influence continues to thrive in modern pixel art games like Octopath Traveler and Undertale. Get ready to explore the timeless charm of 16-bit adventures that shaped a generation and continue to inspire new creators. I think the first question we have to ask is, what was your first JRPG? So my first gaming experience was actually on the Game Boy, and I know some of you might be wondering, what is a Game Boy? Well, it's this device that used to play black and white video games back in the day, and we used to have cartridges. It was really more fun than it actually sounds. So one of my friends was actually playing Pokemon on the device, and I just didn't get it because there wasn't the usual mechanics that we're used to as platformers, where you just button smash like Hulk and hope for the best. But this was very different. You had to wait your turn, and then you had to move around in a pixelated world, trying to figure out what you're supposed to do in your next mission or your next chapter of the quest that you are on. So it got me curious, but not curious enough to play JRPGs. And you couldn't really blame me at that time because platformers were everywhere. They were like Chewbacca's hair strands, man. They were everywhere. My prejudices for RPGs was about to change when I finally got the chance to play Chrono Trigger as my first Super Nintendo game. And this was crazy because before this, I was so used to just platformers, pressing one button to jump, one button to attack, and that's all I needed to do. But this was also different. This meant I had to strategize my battles. It meant I had to think about some of my reactions to some of the narratives that have been portrayed in the game, because this will actually affect how the game ends. So I was totally blown away by this game. The great thing about the SNES was that it wasn't only restrictive about which RPGs you could play. There was so much variety for you. And this came out with the games like Breath of Fire, games like Final Fantasy VI. It was just incredible, the amount of great games that were out here. There's a saying that says that necessity is the father of all invention, and it's no different here. For me, it's still incredible what people could actually do with 128 gigabytes of RAM with 256 colors and an 8-bit processor for sound. This is just incredible. With 256 colors, it was incredible how these visual artists of the past could actually convey and tell stories. It was just captivating, and they used every trick in the book, and it was just stunning to look at. And I think this is the main reason why this art style is here till today, because people just appreciate this. I think for video game composers, it was difficult working with an 8-bit processor for audio, and they actually managed to pull it off. I think the emphasis was always on the melodies, and that's why I just kind of remember all the soundtracks to all the games I played on the Super Nintendo were actually very memorable. And it was because of the melodies. They focused on the melodies because they couldn't transfer the live performances onto the games. I have to acknowledge Nobuo Uematsu for creating Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy IV soundtracks. I have to also acknowledge Yasunori Mitsuda for creating Chrono Trigger soundtrack, and also Koji Kondo for Super Mario World and The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past soundtracks. So what makes the Super Nintendo actually that much better than any other console out there? I think it's the catalog. The catalog and the caliber of the games that are out there on this console is just, there's nothing close, there's nothing that's better. There's no sweeter water, there's no greener grass, there's nothing out there. It's just a Death Star when compared to what we get inside the Super Nintendo. And so I'm going to really cover those 4 games that I think are quintessential for your experience with the Super Nintendo when it comes to JRPGs. Of course, you already know that I mentioned one of them, that's Chrono Trigger. And I'm going to give it its flowers the proper way. I'm going to have to introduce it with some etiquette for you, so you can all know that I'm a little bit cultured, I guess. So first up, we have The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, released in 1991. This action-adventure game is packed with RPG elements, including exploration, character progression, and puzzle solving. Let's take on the role of a Link as he embarks on a quest to rescue Princess Zelda and defeat the evil Ganon. With its expansive world, memorable dungeons, and iconic gameplay mechanics, A Link to the Past is a must-play for any fan of the genre. Next up, we have Breath of Fire 2, which hit the shelves in 1994. The classic time-based RPG features a rich story and memorable cast of characters. Let us follow the journey of Ryu, a young man with the ability to transform into powerful dragons. With its engaging narrative, character transformations, and strategic combat, Breath of Fire 2 remains a beloved title among RPG enthusiasts. Coming in at number 3 is Final Fantasy VI, released in 1994, often hailed as one of the greatest RPGs of all time. This game is known for its deep narrative and character development. Players experience the story of a diverse cast as they fight against an oppressive empire. With its innovative gameplay mechanics, stunning visuals, and unforgettable soundtrack, Final Fantasy VI sets a new standard for storytelling in video games. And finally, we arrive at the crown jewel of our list, Chrono Trigger. Released in 1995, this game is celebrated for its time-traveling storyline, multiple endings, and innovative battle system. Let's journey through different eras, meeting memorable characters, and making choices that affect the outcome of the story. With its beautiful graphics, engaging gameplay, and a score composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, Chrono Trigger is frequently cited as one of the best RPGs ever made. So for me, these are the S-tier, A-tier games out there, 5-star games. You can tell me which other console can give you such games. I just don't think there's one like that. I just think the amount of innovation and creativity espoused in these games is incredible. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what happened to RPGs? We go 3D and they go better. Okay, I totally understand. And to some extent, I think open world games are RPGs, but I just don't think they have a story that can compete with these games I just mentioned. There is no game out there that, or maybe for The Witcher 3, and it was based off a book, so obviously it's gonna be good. And even Elder Scrolls, but I just don't think that they can clearly be head and shoulders above what I've just mentioned. There's 4 good, great games out here. When it comes to the SNES RPG classics, I just don't think the new games have actually captured that. And here are 6 reasons why I feel that way. Number 1, we have focused storytelling, where we have concise narratives. Classic SNES RPGs often feature tightly woven narratives that are focused and impactful. Games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI deliver stories that are rich in character development and emotional resonance with a more compact framework. In contrast, modern open-world games can sometimes suffer from sprawling narratives that may lack the same level of focus and pacing. For me, this is just why I just hate Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I know some people love it, but for me, it just simply makes me feel like puking whenever I look at that map because it's too big. Why should I fight all these characters out there, all these side stories, and I'm just left with a big empty world to do nothing in? I just don't like it, man. Concise is everything. That map should have been much, much smaller, and a very more focused, razor-sharp storyline should have been developed. Number 2, character development. SNES RPGs are known for their well-defined characters, each with unique arcs and motivations. The limited scope of these games allow for deeper character exploration and development. In some modern open-world games, the sheer number of characters can lead to less depth in individual character arcs, making it harder for players to form strong emotional connections. By the end of the Odyssey, I was just not caring about what's happening to anybody and anything out there. I was just like, okay, to be done with it, because I really just wanted to finish that game and get rid of it. I wanted to get out of that world as soon as possible, ASAP. I mean, I was that jaded by this game. Number 3, emotional impact. The emotional impact of classic SNES RPGs is often heightened by nostalgia, as many players have fond memories of their first experience with these games. The storytelling techniques used in this classic, such as impactful plot twists and character sacrifices, have left a lasting impression that can be difficult for modern games to replicate. There's nothing like the first time, and for video games it's no different. And that's why I think for most developers it's very difficult to create games that can match the classic. I feel sorry for developers who have to compete with somebody's childhood memories. It's a tall order on anybody, and it doesn't matter how talented you are, you're not gonna win this. Number 4, innovative mechanics. Classic SNES RPGs introduced innovative gameplay mechanics that were groundbreaking for their time, such as the active time battle system in Final Fantasy VI and the time traveling mechanics in Chrono Trigger. While modern games have their own innovations, the originality and creativity of these classic mechanics are often viewed as unmatched. I think the main problem with modern gaming is that we think that graphics are innovation when it's just progression. And I think we need to make a distinct difference between progression and innovation. Number 5, cohesive world building. The world building in classic SNES RPGs is often tightly integrated with the narrative, creating a cohesive experience. The lore is presented in a way that feels essential to the story, whereas in some modern open world games, lore can be scattered and optional, leading to a less immersive experience. Most modern open world games are trying to make sure that you spend most of your time in the virtual world, and as such, they sacrifice narrative integrity, having you running around doing nothing that is really that important with side quests, and also they have you doing activities that don't really contribute to the main lore of the game. Number 6, the artistic style and presentation. The unique pixel art style and memorable soundtracks of SNES RPGs have a charm that resonates with many players. The limitations of the hardware led to creative solutions in art and music that have become iconic. While modern games have stunning graphics and orchestral scores, the nostalgic appeal of the SNES aesthetic is hard to surpass. I think when it comes to gaming, when we say less is more, it's really true because right now we have more and we're getting less. It's strange that some of the games that are being made 10 years ago are looking much better than the games that are being coming out this year. This only seems to be affecting the Western developers as the East is locked in. They want the number one spot. So for me, I just think the Super Nintendo is actually the king when it comes to RPGs. Maybe I might be wrong. Have your say. I'll love to hear from you guys. So until next time, peace.